So after you're done washing all of them off, you're going to dry them. All the plastic pieces, as I said, I did this already. So I'm just going to pat it dry. You can kind of rub, but don't rub the stickers. You don't want to take off the ink. I'm going to put my phone down for a second. Alrighty, so after you, now remember it won't be 100% dry, but after you pat it down and shake it off a little bit, you can look at it and see if there's any gunk still left on it. For instance, it looks like, for mine, yeah, it looks like most of the food came off it pretty easy. It wasn't on there that long. So then, you gotta wait for these to dry, and it takes a long time because you don't want to put, obviously, wet components and plastic together, so. So then we'll let that all dry. And you could wash everything, basically. The eject button, but I'm just not going to do it all because I already did it. But this could be washed. The plates, as I said, little plastic buttons, because the buttons usually get a lot of dirt in them from people pressing them, and, you know, the cartridge slots. And remember, it may take a couple of washes. Oh, and also, if you're opening it up, you see I have those, there were little, pieces of plastic there I broke off. The reason being is, if you break off those little pieces of plastic in the Super Nintendo, which is obviously the American version, / Canada, it's, you can actually play region games. Like, for instance, I've been playing Japanese games in this, so it's just a neat little thing, and it's easy. Just need a piece of pliers or something. I did pliers. You could probably get a saw and do it more nicely, but whatever. So then you let that dry. Now we're going on our second part of our video, which is cleaning out a game cartridge. Now, I'm not going to be removing any stickers off of stickers. Those never end well for me, so don't ask me how to do that. I'm sure other people can give you that information if you need it really, really badly. Because knowing me, I'd probably ruin the sticker. So take your smaller Nintendo security screwdriver, and there's 2 screws usually per cart on the outside, so turn, loosen out the screws. Obviously, normally you'd hold down the cart so it doesn't slide, but these aren't actually on there tight, so I might have actually cleaned this. This is an old game, so I have like 3 copies of this game. I didn't realize it. Yoshi's Island. And same with you did on the N6 on the system. You can wipe this down with water on the inside if it's very dirty. Sometimes it is. This one is probably mainly just dusty. I think it's just dust on this one. I've probably cleaned this before, but sometimes there's dirt in here, or even in here there's dirt occasionally. I actually seen rust in this sometimes, which is not easy to get rid of. You literally have to scrape it off. And also, what can be your friend to get off marks on these, like if their sticker is not on the actual sticker, but be careful with this stuff, is Gooby Gone. Can be pretty good for getting off a lot of stuff. And so then you would wash that off, and be careful of the sticker when washing, so don't leave it submerged, and pat it dry gently. You don't want to push hard because you may take off the ink then on the sticker. But I do it all the time and it works pretty well. So, and you could do it on the, and then you would, then this is the actual cartridge. Sometimes they have a battery, sometimes they don't, and they may actually be bigger or smaller depending on the type of cartridge. And then has a little metal piece in there. Not all the cartridges have this. This one does. This is mainly, this is just dusty. It's not, it's not really dirty. The sticker is, but I'm not gonna, well, there's just a little bit, but I'm not gonna wash it off. It's not really worth it for that. But you would do the same thing here. Wash it off. You could even pop that metal piece out if you really wanted to. It just slides kind of out by pushing it down, but I see no point really. And same thing, pat the sticker dry gently. Don't rub the sticker. You can rub the plastic though gently. So then you would clean that out. Now here is the fun part. This is where also check the front and the back. This one's actually okay, but sometimes you have some of that orange stuff on these even. This one actually has a little bit of residue. I think this is one of the older ones I cleaned a long time ago when I first learned how. So this one actually might have to be cleaned a little bit back there. And check up here. Occasionally there's one or two, like up there. There's a solder point. It looks clean pretty much. And if you look at the contacts, these actually might have been, these ones are pretty worn down. This is when I was practicing cleaning. As you can see, it's pretty much all silver, which it should be gold. That's why if you ever have to use Brasso, which is only for like heavily corroded stuff, I recommend not using it if you don't have to. If not, be very careful. That stuff is very abrasive. Same with a magic eraser. But here's how we're going to do this. So first you're going to do is put it down. Normally I do this with 2 hands as usual, but going on a leap of faith here. Take your, dip it in the alcohol. Tap it off. Then same thing you did with the cartridge slot. Go over it, be careful. Try not to get it on the motherboard if you can avoid it. For instance, like me, who's getting it on the motherboard, because I'm holding it with one hand. And you go over it, like so, and normally I do both sides at the same time, but as I said, one-handed. So you go over the teeth and vice versa. And usually if this is your first time cleaning it, which I'll do here, just to show you, but you would take, remember that pink eraser we had? Some people say white. These are just a standard, I think, from Staples maybe or something. This one's been used a lot, but wipe off any excess dirt, like if it's black, and then voila. this is gonna be hard to do with one hand, but let's do it. Go over the teeth gently. Try not to get it on the motherboard. You go back and forth. And you just go a little bit. Like, there's not a lot, but you can kind of see a little bit of dirt on there. And you just do this a couple times, depending on how bad it is. This isn't too bad, so. But maybe a few minutes, or if it's corroded, you may have to do this multiple times, and it could take a while, but gently, not too hard so you don't ruin the teeth. And then you go to the other side. Same thing. Back and forth. And try not to let the shards get into the chips and stuff of the eraser. So then you would go over like that. And the reason I then take your other spare one and well, this would be easier with one hand, but you just normally hold the cartridge like this with one hand and go on the other thing on the other side and remove all the excess eraser residue so it doesn't stay on the board. I'll probably just clean this afterwards just to show you, but and then when you're done with that, one more time, rubbing alcohol again. Ah, this was the wrong one. Oh well. Don't do what I just did stupidly and put the wrong one in there, but it's not a big deal if you do it once, but because you may end up contaminating the rubbing alcohol after a while. Don't really know if it makes a difference. Then you go over with the rubbing alcohol again and make sure to get all the eraser off if there's any, and just wipe it down and back and forth on the teeth. Like so. Normally I'd be pushing harder, but this thing's gonna fall. Not the best demonstration, but I try my best. Then when you're done, you let it dry and you lift it up, and these pins aren't great. As I said, I didn't do the best job with one hand, but you'd be using two and be more thorough. But you would check, like there might be a little bit of dirt still there. You could check, as I said, and clean it off and check the soldering joints, and then you would put it back together. When you put it back together, the cartridge fits in a certain way. If you look at the design there, you have to fit in to the notches so the cartridge never goes in wrong, which is one of the nice things about this. Except that's the wrong way, I think. And there you go. See? Clicks on the notches, and then you would take this. See, it has notches up there, so you got to be careful when opening it and removing it so you don't break it. You throw it into the holes over there, close it, make sure it's good. Put your little security screws back in. Then take your tool. And don't drop the screws, like I just did. So then tighten the screws down. Don't over tighten them, just tighten them so they're snug. Because if you over tighten them, you may actually ruin the plastic and strip the screws. So you want to make sure they're just slightly tight. And then unfortunately I dropped some stuff, so we're going to take our trusty magnet. Because I just dropped one of the screws somewhere. Gotta find it now. There it is, one of them, see? Caught it. Put it in. Screw it down. Make sure it's tight. Voila. You pretty much have a new clean cartridge. And also, if you don't have the security screwdrivers, you could just clean out this part, but it's better if you can get inside the cartridge. It's more thorough that way, and sometimes you can get the dirt that you can't normally get just doing that way. So now we're going to put back together the Super Nintendo. Unfortunately, mine's not fully dry, but oh, whatever. I'm not going to be using it, so. Actually, you know what? We'll wait. I'm going to upload these parts and make a third part to this. And because I got to let this dry, it's actually way too wet still.